Hi.
Hi, Tim.
We're back.
And you're back.
I'm back. Hi, friends.
Hello, and happy Pride, because it's June.
Happy Pride Month. I love it. I like your neck thing shirt.
It's a Pride shirt, and I've got a Pride flag behind me because I have a reveal.
Okay, let's see it.
Roll it away.
Ta-da!
I have a new background.
You have a new background.
My office upstairs because my other office didn't have a door and it was downstairs and there was chaos and it's summertime and Beecher was like, I'm not taking the kids out of the house twice a week all summer so you could be on your fancy little show. So.
I don't blame them at all. So speaking of which, I forgot to turn my lights on. They're off. See them in the background?
They're off? Oh, yeah. Look at you.
Can you stall for 10 seconds?
They're a little glowy.
No one's seeing anything. Yeah. I have to go turn these on
I can stall.
So. All right, yeah. No one sees this.
Oh, Sadie in the comments said I thought she was going to come out. Well, I've already come out. I mean, I am bi. So I extra celebrate Pride for that. But also my spouse is non-binary. So we are big Pride fam bam over here. Newly. We've only really celebrated in the last few years, so.
Okay, official. Sorry,
now
without the lights on, I didn't feel like I was my true self, so.
Our token straight.
Yeah, right. Yes, I am the token straight. Also, April, I do want to say your shoulders are showing in that shirt. So, just want to make everyone aware on the podcast that I can see April's shoulders.
What do you think is the bigger offense to the evangelical? The fact that my shoulders are exposed or the fact that I'm wearing a Pride shirt?
Right. What's the bigger distraction here?
Which is the greater sin?
Toss up, man. It's a toss up. I mean, you got those Theo bros who think that women wearing yoga pants should be like imprisoned, but also, every time Pride Month comes along, they all share that same stupid AI generated like Sodom and Gomorrah picture, and they say the first Pride Month. So it's hard to know. I would just say they're offended no matter what.
That's true. Have you seen? There's just like a plethora of, it happens every single year without fail. You've got like the Satan memes and he's like sewing together a rainbow flag.
Yes.
Like Satan has time to take up sewing.
The obsession.
I don't know.
The obsession with Pride Month. Like if you want to see the real snowflakes in America, just go to Bro-Evangelical Twitter during Pride Month. These people are losing their minds, not because anyone's forcing them to celebrate anything, but simply because pride flags are hanging out on balconies or organizations or people are sharing Happy Pride Month. Just that makes them lose their mind and cry like little children. It is wild to witness. I mean, these big alpha bros, right, who are like, look, eat steak and work out, and you gotta be a tough man, full of courage and strength and honor. Like, oh my God, it's a pride flag. I'm so triggered. I'm so offended. Turn it off. I can't look at it. It's unbelievable.
And then every time in June, it's suddenly June. Everyone, they like to remind you that pride is one of the deadly sins. If not the deadliest sin, like pride is what got Satan cast out of heaven. And then literally, as soon as July 1st hits,
exactly.
Like, and I'm proud to be an American. And then suddenly pride's okay again. Pride's back.
American pride, that's biblical. But Pride Month is unbiblical, right? That's how it works here. And by the way, I realized this like 20 years ago when I was like 18. I'm like, wait. Is pride a sin, or is it just whenever Pride Month happens that suddenly it's a sin, right? Because you're right, 4th of July. I mean, if you don't, my church, we would celebrate 4th of July Sunday morning, pledge allegiance to the flag, pledge to the Christian flag, do that stupid song, I'm proud to be an American. I mean, that was during a church service, American pride, American exceptionalism. So, yeah.
It's so stupid. I do have to say, you were missed last week. And if I got to be honest, as much as I don't want to give you credit for anything, I'm just kidding. I'll say I have a much deeper respect for you every single week because you typically or always you do the controls of bringing in the videos and bringing in the sound bites, and you weren't here last week, and Beecher filled in. And so I ran the controls, and you gave me like a 30-minute tutorial, and I was like sweating. I was so anxious. Like, it was hard for me to concentrate. And I even realized too, I didn't even really introduce Beecher. I just kind of said, this is my spouse Beecher, and I didn't say really anything about them because I was so like, I gotta bring them in. I gotta do this camera angle and da. So anyway, thank you for what you do every single week so that I don't have to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot going on my side of the screen. I can see chats in real time. I can see how many folks are watching in real time. And I program all of the shots, but I'm getting more and more used to doing both. But it can be distracting, especially when you're talking about something and I want to find the graphic that we haven't planned. Then I start looking over to my other screen trying to pull it. But yeah, I mean, look, last week, first off, Beecher did such a great job. Thank you, Beecher, for filling in. It was such a great live. I was able to tune in for a little bit. And I was in LA working with our team to think about the future of TNE. It was really good. We have some pretty big announcements coming your way, including we have officially expanded our board of directors. You can go to our Instagram or our website to see who they are. I'm really pumped. I want to say one quick thing that I did not plan on saying. I went to Disney for the first time. Okay, never been to Disney in my life.
Wait. You've never been to Disney, even Disney World?
No, never. Okay.
Oh.
And one of our board of directors, or one of our directors, they get free Disney tickets. And so we got free tickets to Disneyland, California, and whatever it's called, Disney World. And so it's two parks, one place. And I didn't know what to expect. I had such a fun time. My favorite ride that we did was the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. It wasn't even a ride. It was an experience. Like, I've never been a part of something like that in my entire life. So I had such a good time. And yeah, now we're back and we're back to the show. Speaking of which, April, I told you that, I should say this in the beginning of every show now, but we do have a very packed show for you today, friends. We're talking about the big, bad, beautiful bill that is terrible. We're going to have a special guest join us in a minute for that. We're talking about AI becoming self-actualized. And yes, we're going to cover the news about Sean Feucht and Michael Tait. So we have a lot to talk about today. So thank you for being here. Please make sure to give this video a like if you're watching right now. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you. Please give the show a rating and a review. I see all of your comments, friends. Great to have all of you with us. But yeah, we have a very packed show today for sure.
I know, so packed. You and I were trying to scramble. We're like, oh my God, because the Michael Tait news broke last night. This Thursday. It was last night. We're like,
It's 10:30. I'm in bed. I get a text from you. I'm like, oh my God, Michael Tait. Which, by the way, I've heard rumors of things like that for a long time from people, but nothing that I could ever confirm. And so to have the news article drop is just like, it's shocking. So anyway, we'll definitely cover that for sure today.
Yeah. Well, we have a guest coming in a few minutes, but now we have 4 minutes to kill.
Well, let's talk about the big, bad, beautiful bill and kind of get things prepped for that, because that's kind of one of the big stories going on. It's really something else.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. What's the official name for it too? Like, for so long, I heard Trump calling it the big, beautiful bill. And I thought that was just Trump being Trump and giving it a nickname, but that's actually the title. Which the full title is One Big Beautiful Bill Act. That's the official name of this bill.
We just live in the stupidest timeline. Like, we're really naming bills that. It's unbelievable to me that this is like, and again, these MAGA people are like, brilliant. This is brilliant, Trump. You're doing such a great job. Like, it's so childish.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to cover some facts about the bill, which we briefly talked about it last week, but we also had not last week, 2 weeks ago when you were here. Yep. But it's another bill that's going to greatly lower taxes for the wealthy at a much higher proportion than it does anything for middle and lower class.
I have a graphic I can pull up too, just kind of show people.
Yeah, and it has drastic cuts to Medicaid. It also cuts SNAP benefits. It's just not good unless you are very wealthy. So yeah, here's this graph that shows what your annual what your savings would be based on your income.
That's right.
And so people who make over $1 million on average would save about $90,000 a year, which is a change in income of 4.3%. And then as you can see, as you make less and less and less money, you get less back in taxes. Like, not just less money because it's a flat rate, but less percentage. Like the bottom 20% on average would gain just $90. So
0.6%.
Right. Yeah. So when they say it's a tax break for everybody, that is technically true. But the bottom 20% would gain on average just $90, where people making over $1 million would gain about $90,000 a year.
Yep.
Which this is backwards. This graph should be the opposite direction.
100%. I mean, you hear these talking points, right? Of like, oh, this bill is really for the rich, and you wonder, okay, is that totally true? But the data bears it out. Like, if you are in like the top, 1 or 2% of the country, you're going to save between $90,000 or $11,000 depending on your tax bracket. But if you're in the bottom part of society, this bill does not benefit you at all, and it also cuts access to Medicaid and other government resources that people, especially in the lower class, rely on. And by the way, to be clear, like I live in New Jersey. It's a very expensive state. My wife and I, we make it work, but we rely on Is it Medicare or Medicaid? Whatever one is more accessible for children. We rely on that. Yeah, we rely on Medicaid for our kids. They have health care through the state because we don't make enough money to not be qualified for it, right? So these things are all getting cut, and the richest parts of society will see a huge benefit. So this is not an equitable bill. It's not even a Christian bill. It goes against the teachings of Christ, for crying out loud.
And look at the percentages. So top 1% in the nation for income will have an average change of 4.3% in savings for their taxes. The bottom 20% is 0.6%, 0.6%. The second 20% would get 1.5%. The middle 20% is a 1.9% change. And then the fourth 20% is a 2.7% change. So you're almost doubling, and then more than doubling the savings for the ultra wealthy.
Yeah.
It's so, and that's the thing that is so infuriating too, is because most Trump supporters and people who voted for Trump are not the ultra wealthy. Right. There are people that thought Trump was going to help them out and give them savings. And technically, I guess there is a savings, but it's not. Trump is looking out for him and his billionaire buddies and not anybody else.
100%. 100%. I think it's important to just recognize that, this kind of stuff, like it, how do you claim to be a Christian, right? And claim to vote for biblical values and then accept this kind of plan, right? Where the people who are hurting the most, who are suffering the most, who have the most economic disadvantage are going to get squeezed even more. Both from a benefits perspective and from a tax perspective, while the ultra rich are going to continue to benefit. Like, at some point, something's going to break. Like, it's untenable the direction that we're heading as a country, where the wealth gap is increasing more and more. Right? They say a healthy society has a strong middle class, and so when you're eroding that middle class and you're making a wider delta between your upper crust and the bottom, it's not good on any level, even pragmatically. It doesn't make America great. It doesn't put us in competition with other countries in the world. We can lose our standing with how innovative we are. So even on a pragmatic standpoint, this isn't a good thing. And yet, to your point, a lot of Christians, especially middle and lower class white folks, said, no, this is how we make America great again, when it really hurts them ultimately.
And just to cite our sources, that graph was from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, where they track all this stuff.
Perfect. Well, the other part about this bill is that it's also not good for education either. And we have a special guest that we're going to bring in to talk about this, a good friend of mine. Let's bring him in right now, actually. Let's see. That's the wrong button. That's just me. Let's try this one. Tim. All right. Boom!
Hey.
Andrew, what's up?
Hello, my friends. How are you?
Good to see you, Andrew. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. It's a crazy day. Supreme Court's doing some things, Trump's doing some things, and then we got this bill that you were just correctly skewering that's going to send $20 billion of taxpayer money to private schools and families and help further enrich billionaires. And it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, why don't you go ahead and briefly introduce yourself to the audience for new people who might not know who you are, and then why don't you go ahead and get into it and talk about what's in this bill on the education side?
Sure, Andrew Seidel. I maybe the resident heathen of the TNE channel.
Yes, you are.
Also
Our friendly atheist.
friendly. I'm going for like the Mr. Rogers of atheism kind of thing here. I'm a constitutional attorney. I fight for the separation of church and state for true religious freedom. Written a couple books on the subject, and my day job is working at the amazing organization Americans United for Separation of Church and State, which is help leading the charge against this particularly bad aspect of the big bill, this $20 billion of our money that would go to private religious education, really.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. I mean, first off, this bill does seem big. It covers a lot of different things, and it's hard to know what's inside of it. I mean, even Marjorie Taylor Greene said that she didn't read the bill, which is, I think, hilarious. Because I remember, I think, was it Nancy Pelosi who said that? Something like, we have to pass the bill before we could see what's inside of it during Obamacare. And, like, Republicans and right-wing media roasted her over the coals for, like, 10 years. And here we have the same thing happening, and like not a peep.
That's fair.
It is fair. No, it's a fair critique. Like you're a lawmaker. Like please do.
Yeah,
but to hear MTG say it is just hilarious. But anyway, talk to me about the education side. We've covered on the show before the war on education from Christian nationalism. How Christian nationalists do not believe in public schools. Largely, they see them as woke indoctrination camps essentially. And so, what are you seeing in the bill that we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I mean, so there is a proposal that was essentially rolled into the bill. It's called the Educational Choice for Children Act, which, like many of the bills in Congress, is something of an Orwellian name. And I mean, what we're really talking about here is basically having taxpayers fund a second private system of education that would pick and choose who and how to educate. So instead of just fully funding public schools and keeping public dollars in public schools, right, we're talking that they're going to teach, reading and writing and math and help kids reach their full potential and then participate in the workforce. We're talking about funding this entirely separate system. Basically, we're talking about vouchers. And I think probably everybody here has heard of school vouchers. Probably a good bit of disinformation at some point. Vouchers were actually first created after the Supreme Court decided the Brown versus Board of Education system, and they were created to help maintain that segregated educational system. So they're invented to maintain a racist system, and by the way, they often have that same result today. So that's kind of the starting point, and this is a little bit of a new form of voucher, and I'm happy to get into kind of the mechanism and why this would actually help millionaires and billionaires make money. But there are really good reasons not to support vouchers. Not the least of which is that they do not work. Studies show that vouchers do not improve educational outcomes for students.
Really? Okay.
Yep, and there are some really credible studies showing that they're actually worse for students.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does it take money away? Does it reallocate money that was destined for public school education to give towards private institutions?
Yeah, so that's what we typically see. That's what we see with like a typical voucher, right? So the parent gets a voucher, and the voucher kind of works like cash, but it's only good at private, usually Christian schools. And this new program it's a little bit different. And so I'm going to simplify it a little bit. Taxpayers owe the U.S. money, right? That's like one of life's two certainties. Okay,
right.
And so instead of paying the United States, this would allow taxpayers to divert those tax payments to a scholarship organization, and then that organization will fund the tuition for private Christian schools. And essentially then the U.S. will forgive the debt. So basically, $1 you send to a Christian school through this scholarship organization is $1 off your taxes, right? So it's effectively taking your tax bill and donating it to a Christian school. And it's important to note that this is very different than how donations normally work, right? Like if you make a charitable donation, like there are caps on how much you can claim for that. There are caps on your income, but not here. This is unlimited, up to 10% of a billionaire's income. So this is a huge black hole, April, to answer your question, that is just ripped into the system that we use to fund everything, right? And we're talking, this could be upwards of $20 billion that we see in just taken out of public education, of scientific research, and it also means that people who are thinking about giving, right, they're not going to be giving to the soup kitchen down the street or to the animal shelter or to the other charity, because those donations are capped and limited. But funding religious education is a guaranteed way to pay less in taxes.
Wow.
And so it literally allows people to take money away that would go to the tax system to pay for other, other benefits and programs for other people, whatever, and put it towards like a voucher system or a private school system that would really, ultimately, look, they'll probably say religious schools are allowed, but they mean Christian, right? Because the only real religious schools in America are Christian private schools. Like there aren't other religious. Maybe there's a few, but the ratio is like 1,000 to 1, right? So this is really about funneling money away from the government into private Christian schools, and taxpayers foot the bill for it because the government will reimburse that deficit, essentially. Is that right?
Yeah, we're having to cover the shortfall, right? That $20 billion is like that is coming from somewhere else. That's coming from us paying more in taxes. And it's worse than that too. There's like 3 levels we can go where this gets worse. So what we will see happen if this is passed is that those Christian schools, and to your point, the data supports what you just said. We've seen most voucher programs, we are talking about religious schools being in the 90+% of schools that are receiving vouchers. But so what you'll see happen after this is Christian schools will create their own scholarship organizations. Okay, so then the parents whose kids already go to that school are going to donate. I'm using big air quotes for you folks who are just listening, right? They're going to donate the equivalent of tuition. So let's say that tuition is $50,000,
right?
And let's say they've got 2 kids in the school, so they donate, big air quotes again, and that donation pays their kids' tuition, while the income that they pay taxes on drops by $100,000.
Right.
So this is a scam for rich kids and rich people. And if you're still not convinced, here's the next level, right? Millionaires and billionaires can actually make money on this. Instead of donating cash, they can donate stock. And then that allows them to evade, this gets like really deep into the weeds, it allows them to evade capital gains, and essentially it allows them to make money. And so there's level 2. And then the third level is...
there's more? There's another level?
There's more.
Stop. There's more.
There's more.
In the worst way possible.
In the worst way possible. Yeah. Like think about Betsy DeVos, right? And think about how involved she is with all of her anti-education work. And she's got fingers in kind of all kinds of pies and nonprofits and everything. And that's often the situation. We've got these millionaires and billionaires. They might donate to a scholarship organization that they own, which could then in turn fund their own kids' religious education at a school that they may be invested in financially, which then buys textbooks and supplies and food and other services from other companies that they run. And if that sounds like kind of crazy to you, that this is like too much of a grift, too much of a boondoggle, we've seen this happen with voucher programs before in places like Arizona. You go have fun. There's a great rabbit hole. Highly recommend it for everybody listening. Arizona ran a program like this, and it was a massive failure that was just full of fraud and abuse. And all of these people doing this self-dealing to get richer under the guise of like providing kids this education that we know actually doesn't work. So the entire program is also not just taking money out of taxpayers' pockets. It is a scam.
So what you're telling me is that the people who ran on eliminating government waste and fraud, who instituted Doge, which actually had no savings at all and actually only enriched more billionaires with lucrative contracts, including Elon, have also devised a way to do something like that, only in the school system, where their people or their friends could also, in theory, get very rich from a system with very little guardrails, very little protections, very little oversight, that is designed to suck money away from the government, where we actual taxpayers have to make up that deficit, while they get to either send their kids to school for free and receive a huge tax deduction, and in some cases even make money off of it. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's a reasonable summation. It's terrible. It's really, really bad.
So when the schools, do the schools themselves get any sort of benefit by offering scholarships? Like in addition to so they offer the scholarship to the kids, and then the families donate basically the scholarship money as a donation so that they get the tax break. But is that the reason the schools do the scholarships in the scheme of
No,
things?
I mean, so in that scam, the school itself would just be creating a spin-off organization that is effectively a shell for the school, and we've seen that happen. We saw that happen in Montana when Montana created a program like this. So these scholarship organizations, they're just essentially a waypoint, a legal waypoint. It's just the money goes to them, and then it turns and goes right to the Christian school. And I mean, there are really. First, let me say, too, if this is scaring you and you're like, what is happening? Why is this happening? It should. Yes. You can do something about it. There are things you can do. Like, I think we have a chance of stopping this bill. Vouchers are actually wildly unpopular, and I'm happy to give, I give you 5 reasons off the top of my head why we should never pass another voucher scheme. But this is something that I believe we can stop, and we could get stripped out of this bill if people were to take action today.
Tell us what to do.
Yeah, how? Yeah, order us around. Where do we got to go?
Okay. All right, 2 things I want people to. I want everybody to call your senators. But the easiest way to start acting is to go to novouchers.org. Novouchers.org. All the buttons and actions are there. You can sign up on this page. It will tell you how to call your senator, tell you how to reach out via email. And then there's 2 things that you can do that are above and beyond that, which I would really encourage people to do, because this is the kind of activism that can make a difference. There are phone to text campaigns that are going on right now to oppose this bill. So this is super easy. You don't have to talk to anybody. You sit there and you're just texting people, right? We all do it all day long anyway.
I do it all day long. Exactly.
All day long. I can testify, right? This allows you to get active and to actually get to people in states, for instance, whose senators may be sitting on the fence. You're texting people in that state and getting them to then reach out to their senators. That's one thing that you can do. It's really easy. It's a low lift. And if you're, a little bit more of a people person, if you're want to be host of a podcast, you could phone bank, right? Like, you could actually get on the phone and start calling people in those states and getting to them, explaining to them the problems with this bill. You'll get a crash course and how to best oppose it. So those are, and all of this you can do through novouchers.org. So you get in touch with your senators, you can text, and you can do a phone bank. And I would really, really recommend people start doing that now. The more momentum we can build against this terrible part of this terrible bill, the better.
Yeah. And it does look like there's enough Republicans currently that seem to be opposing the bill in the Senate that there'll be time to make changes. I also want to point out, too, a private institution, another problem with Christian institutions getting this money, is that since they are private, they can discriminate. So exactly. It's not like a queer student who so it's not a free-for-all. They want to say school vouchers give parents the choice to take their kids wherever they want to go. That's not true, because Christians can discriminate. True. Literally last week we talked about how 2 different Christian high schools basically expelled or asked to withdraw students, one for coming out as gay and one for bringing a trans kid as a prom date.
Yep.
And that happens all of the time. So these are not safe places for marginalized communities.
I think we can even say you will be funding discrimination if this bill passes. And to put a finer point on it, vouchers do give a choice. They give a choice to private schools, not to parents and students. The private
Right.
schools that are funded by the bill, they're the ones who are going to be rejecting students. And not just students. I mean, you're absolutely right. We're talking about sexual orientation, gender identity. We're also talking about students of different religions. Race, ethnicity is a possibility. Certainly academic ability. And we also know disability, right? Like, they don't have to admit any of these students. So our taxpayer dollars are going to be, essentially violating key provisions of civil rights laws. And I don't know if you got into this when you were talking about, but a lot of these families are forced to sign statements of faith. They may not have families that align with it. And I really think too, it's important to note that this especially applies to kids with disabilities. They, to accept vouchers, they lose all rights under the federal laws that give them pretty broad protections in public education. And I mean, and we have seen that happen over and over again. I mean, so that is that is a reason to oppose any voucher scheme for sure, but especially this one too.
I mean, we really are watching the continuation of the initial boon of the private school industry, right? Which was based over white parents who did not want their kids to be sat next to black students in public schools, right? When the government started enforcing integration, you have Jerry Falwell and many other Christian leaders who say, well, let's just start private schools that are separate and that are not attached or that are not beholden to government rules and regulations, right? So you're exactly right. These private schools, these voucher programs will fund schools where they could, for any reason, just say, sorry, your student doesn't match our values. I mean, they could be that vague. They don't have to give a specific answer, and they could deny students, which, again, we believe, as me, April, and I are Christians, and you, Andrew, are an atheist. We have the same values that all children should have access to a quality education. And we live in the world's richest country. There's no reason why we can't make that happen. And instead, what we have is a system where the billionaire class, the world's greediest people, are devising plans over and over again to maintain a certain kind of hierarchy, where some students are privileged over others when it comes to education. And then we, as the middle and lower class, get to foot the bill for it, for their schemes. So it's such an unethical system, right? And we have to resist. So I'm with you, friends. You should absolutely go to, what's it called again? I have it here. NoVouchers.org. Yeah, and get involved. We have to.
Yeah, and let me give you a few more reasons just why vouchers are terrible too. So funding discrimination, it's so important. We talked already about how vouchers don't work, right? Another reason is that vouchers kill rural schools. 20% of the students in our country attend rural schools, and when we divert funding away from those public schools, it really weakens the rural schools first. They're kind of the canaries in the coal mine. And those schools, by the way, are also often the largest employers in rural counties. So it's not just kids, adults and kids, entire communities depend on those rural public schools for resources and economic growth. And the reason you don't see private schools opening up in rural areas is because there's not enough people there to support the private Christian school, the private school. It has to be a public school. So that's a really important point. Like, if you are in a rural area, there's no school that you're going to be able to go to with this money in your area. That's why you need strong public schools. Another really fascinating and terrible aspect of vouchers is, and this is, I think, the other side is so good with their disinformation, right? There is a myth. And if you are thinking about vouchers, I bet there's people out there who are imagining, well, vouchers support the students who are financially the worst off, right? The people who need vouchers the most are being supported. And that is just not true ever. Vouchers support rich kids. And to give you one recent example, 95% of the participants in Arkansas's universal voucher program had never attended public schools before receiving a voucher.
Wow.
95% of those kids were already in private schools paying tuition, right? And now we're paying for it, right? And that is a number that you see repeated kind of around the country when these new voucher schools open up. In American Crusade, where I have a couple chapters on vouchers, and there was a Georgia legislator who was caught on tape saying, "Yeah, that's the point. That's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to help kids in poor communities." And then the final thing I think is that I mean, not the final thing, but we'll call this number 5. I think we're there now, is that this bill is going to force states into voucher programs. And we know that people don't want vouchers. So, I mean, you just look at the 2024 elections, even in conservative places and in deeply conservative counties. Kentucky, yeah. Kentucky
we voted
and Nebraska
down a
too.
school voucher program.
Overwhelmingly voted it down. There were, I think it's 47 counties that voted for President Trump by a 70-plus point margin that voted against vouchers.
Wow.
Right? Like, people don't want vouchers. And this is a way to force them to have them even though they don't want it.
So much for states' rights too, right?
Much.
The Republican
much
Party's
for
like,
states'
give it to the states. It's interesting because we did a campaign when we were at the Summit for Religious Freedom this past April.
Yeah.
Was it in April?
Yeah.
No, it was April.
No, it was. Was it April? Okay, April.
It was April.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But the three of us, I remember we wrote postcards about ECCA to, for me, it was Senator Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell. And I remember I wrote in our thing, and our kids did too, like, hey, our state, Kentucky, voted this down, and you represent our state. So please, vote against this and be against this. And it's such a... Because also, isn't it true that school vouchers, like the amount that a voucher covers, usually does not cover the entire tuition of a private institution, which is another reason why it harms lower income people, because even with the vouchers, lower class families cannot afford private school institutions anyway, even with the vouchers, because it's not like a voucher that says now you can go here for the same price of going to public school.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's a whole host of other issues that are associated with that too, right? Like just think of where those private schools are located generally, and how do you get the kids from the low income neighborhood where they live, over to the suburbs, say, where that Christian school might be, right? It's not. How do you handle the transportation? So even if the voucher did cover it, right, there's not a whole system to handle busing, for instance. So it's not just this simple one-to-one, and that's why you see the voucher programs really going to 90+% of the time. The Arkansas number, 95% of the time, to these kids who are already in private schools.
Yeah.
Not to mention the indoctrination that often is inside.
Oh my gosh,
schools.
For sure. Yes.
I remember whenever we had to talk, I went to a Christian school, and when my science teacher had to get to evolution, it was emphatically said, we know this isn't true. Darwin was an atheist, and they spent a paragraph explaining evolution, where most of the book was about creation. We learned so much about creation, and I actually know very little about evolution. And what I do know, it was inside a clear caveat that this isn't actually true.
Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't watch Bill Nye the Science Guy because of that, because it was clear. The Bible is very clear about how the earth was created. So, yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. I think that obviously this is a horrible idea, and that's why I recommend people go to novouchers.org as soon as possible and get as involved as possible to let your rep know to vote no, absolutely, or to get this part out of the bill, because this is a federal bill, right? So this goes from the state level to mandating on a federal level that these programs have to be instituted, and they obviously do not help the people who need the most help. They only privilege those who are already privileged. So, Andrew, anything else you want to add?
Well, I just want to ask a question, because I came in, you were talking about this, and you were talking about it from the Christian perspective too, and just correct me if I'm wrong here, but I thought I remembered that Jesus said it's totally okay to hoard wealth so long as you're screwing everyone else. Is that in the Beatitudes? Or
yes. So
that was in John Adams 3:16.
Yes, you truly know your Bible, Andrew. It's impressive how well you know your Bible. Yes, that is correct. Yes, it says the question is, how hard is it for a rich man to enter the kingdom? Very easy. The richer you are, the easier it gets. So you want to get all the wealth that you can, So
okay.
Through the poor, I think was Jesus
yes,
love your neighbor and screw the poor.
Yes, love your neighbor and screw the poor. Jesus 2025. So
before someone quotes this, I just want to say that was all sarcasm.
Yeah, we're just kidding.
We're
Don't
living in a
quote
weird
that.
world where people
We
are
really
believing
are.
weird AI videos. So
True.
And
Well,
you
Andrew,
have to
thank you
find
for
a
being
little
here.
filter, so.
It was great having you on for sure. If folks want to follow your work or follow the work that you do with Americans United, where can they find you?
AU.org is Americans United. We're Americans United on most of the platforms. We're certainly on every platform. I'm Andrew L. Seidel on everywhere, and would love to hear from folks. And if you want more on any of this, please come check out AU. We'd love to have your support. This is what we do. This is what we fight, and I appreciate y'all having me on to help spread the word.
Andrew, don't you have a podcast?
I do have a podcast. One Nation Indivisible is the podcast. It's a new podcast. Yeah, thanks.
It's great. It's great.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Okay, my friend. Until next time, we'll talk to you later. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Bye,
See
all.
ya.
thanks, Andrew.
Oh, so cool. Friends, that was so helpful. I love being able to have access to folks like Andrew, being able to come on and explain things that I'm like, I got the general gist, but having an expert come on is so helpful.
Yeah.
Welcome into the stream, by the way. We are live right now. Please make sure to give this video a like. Subscribe to the channel. We go live every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern, and we always do a deep dive every Monday, helping you understand Christian nationalism and why it's so important to resist it and find a better path forward in faith, politics, and culture. So, you want to keep talking about the big, beautiful bill, or do you want to move on to maybe to MTG's tweets or Elon's tweets about the bill?
Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, so there's trouble in paradise. Elon Musk recently left his position at the White House with Doge, and he tweeted out, he's had it. He is mad. And if you think about it, he pretty much put his career on the line to do all those cuts at Doge,
Right.
and maybe he genuinely believed he was making all these savings. It turns out he didn't cut. He wasn't able to save nearly anything to amount to much.
No. If you look at all the data, they saved absolutely no money. They lied about their big savings. Like, this is just documented. I mean, they essentially lied through their teeth. So
while
the whole thing was propaganda.
Aid and gutting like all these really important programs that helped some of the most vulnerable people to really still not save a lot of money. But part of the whole plan was that Doge would come in and get rid of waste, to get rid of government waste, what they would call waste, and to pass a budget that would also lower the debt ceiling.
Right,
We're already so far in debt.
Right.
Trump's bill adds, what is it? Like almost
trillion.
$2.5 million. Yeah,
Trillion.
almost $2.5 trillion to our deficit.
Yes.
Already.
Yes.
And so Musk is pissed because he did all this work. Literally, Elon Musk lost hundreds of millions of dollars in stocks, and people were boycotting Tesla, and like his businesses are not doing well. Like, don't feel sorry for him. He's the greediest, wealthiest man in the world, so he'll be fine.
Right.
But he lost a lot. He lost a
lot.
lot for what he did in Doge. And then here's Trump's bill, his big beautiful bill, came in and is basically undoing all of that, where it was all for nothing. Yeah. And so Elon
Not that
Musk,
there was much to undo, to be clear, but whatever little was undone. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he tweets out on X, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it."
Look, okay. Did you see the New York Times article that said essentially that Elon Musk has been on like a cocktail of drugs for a couple months, like all kinds of crazy things? Have you seen that article? And I was watching him when Trump, gave him a happy send-off. The man does not look okay. All right. He had like a black eye. He said that his 4-year-old was a black eye? Yes, and his excuse was he told his 4-year-old when they were roughhousing, which, by the way, his son's name is X. Okay, whatever. But he told his son to punch him in the face. That was his excuse for having a black eye. Now, look, I am a father, and I have 2 boys, okay? And we roughhouse. And I will tell you that there is no universe where I would put my arms down and go, "Come on, boys, punch me in the face." I would never in a million years ever say that. So I don't think that he's okay at all right now. He seems way out of it. He seems very high whenever he's public. So this tweet, I don't know if I believe it, even though he said it. Like, is he right? For sure.
I believe
but
it.
also, like, do you think that
I believe
there's
it.
do you think that there's conviction behind this though for him?
Yes.
You do?
Absolutely. Because think about it.
Tell me.
It's the F around and find out, right? He's in the find out portion where he did all this stuff to the Americans. And here's the thing. I think, and I am not defending Elon Musk. He's thrown out Nazi salutes. He's an awful human being. I'm not a fan. But I do think he came in thinking he was going to be a hero of the government who found all this fraud and saved it. And then he realized that wasn't happening. He got in there. He didn't really know what he was doing. He started cutting things that we really needed. And the world turned on him, right? MAGA didn't. MAGA was, yay, Elon, we love you.
Right.
But MAGA is a very, 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 very small percentage. And Elon Musk owns an international company. And so I genuinely think that he is pissed because he did all of that, put his reputation on the line, and Trump's bill is undoing all of it. Like, he's going to have nothing to show for it long term.
I have a hard time believing that Elon is this brilliant genius and also someone who's that not intelligent. I don't know. Like, I see it different. I think that the whole thing for Elon was a grift. I think for Elon, he knew that he had no clue what he was doing. He had no foundational ethic of, I want to make the government smaller, because he obviously had no problem taking billions of dollars of money from the government to fund, Tesla and SpaceX. I just think it was a grift. I think the whole thing was a grift to further cut any kind of bureaucracy or red tape for his own companies and getting access to government money. In fact, there's been a whole study done on how the privatization of government contracts has become so wasteful over time. Like, it's become higher and higher. So that's how I see it. I don't really think that he gave a crap about, small government or government waste. I just think he wanted to come in and do whatever he could to benefit himself and his organizations. That's my personal
I do think he was in there to benefit himself. I mean, we saw there was a conflict of interest on several issues with Tesla and all of that. But I also think he is a narcissist. Like, I feel like you have to be a narcissist to be a billionaire.
Yeah. Yes.
And I don't think he was self-aware to not think that he couldn't do it. Like, I think he really thought he could come in.
Oh, yeah, I see.
And cut stuff, and then when he got in there and realized, oh, this is way more complicated, maybe I should have a background in government,
or how the government works, right? Because the government is not a business, right? Like the way that the government carries debt is not the same way that, like, I as a individual or me and my family would carry debt. It's not the same thing. It's totally different. So this idea of, like, we want small government, it's actually quite unhelpful, because the government's job is to serve the people, right? So if you don't have enough infrastructure to serve your constituents, to actually help those who need help, this is what happens. And so the whole thing is, I don't know. I mean, as we're seeing between the voucher program and other things, this idea of gutting government only hurts the people in the majority who vote for these policies ultimately. Right.
Yeah. No, I think... Anyway, Elon Musk is regretting.
Well, look, we had this agreement. So Oliver agrees with me, right? But Carol agrees with you, April. So we have a split audience now. Take sides, everyone. Who do you side with?
I mean, we all agree that Elon Musk still sucks.
Oh my God, so much. Jesus.
Yeah, I will say it's nice to see someone use the word abomination during June about something not pride related.
That part was nice, like, thank you, Elon. We agree. The bill is an abomination.
But Elon Musk is not the only one. As we mentioned, Marjorie Taylor Greene also tweeted out that
this is crazy. Like, what universe are we living in, April? I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, so Marjorie Taylor Greene tweets, full transparency. She already voted for this bill. Right. She helped get it passed through Congress. She says, full transparency, I did not know about this section on pages 278 to 279 of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. B. She said that strips states of the right to make laws or regulate AI for 10 years. I am adamantly opposed to this, and it is a violation of states' rights, and I would have voted no if I had known this was in there. We have no idea what AI will be capable of. So, I agree with Marjorie.
I know. I can't believe I'm saying that. April, I'm like, yes, MTG. I agree. Like, we need to be able to regulate AI 100%. I agree with you. I don't know what universe I'm currently in where I say those words,
right.
but we found one.
And also, as a congresswoman, you have one job. You read bills before you vote on the bills.
Yep. I mean, that's what you get paid 6 figures a year to do, is to read bills and vote on bills. And by the way, was it Nancy Pelosi who said when they tried to pass Obamacare that we have to pass it to see what's in it, right? And people raked her over the coals, especially right-wing media, which, by the way, that makes sense. It's a bad take, 100%. Yeah, you have one job. But now that it's happening here, not a peep from these people, right? But I agree. I mean, how do you not read the bill that you're going to vote on? It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And I want to talk about AI in a second, but I just want to first give y'all a list of there is some hope here. There are several Republican senators that are not happy with this bill as it is. Rand Paul of Kentucky is against it because he says the math doesn't add up and he's not okay with increasing the deficit. And to Rand Paul's credit, he has been consistent on this issue. He has always been to lower the deficit, and I don't like Rand Paul, but
right.
You know what? He's a broken clock, right?
It's
right twice a day. Yeah, consistent on this. Also, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin currently opposes the bill. Senator Rick Scott from Florida currently opposes the bill. And most of these, I think, are just for the deficits that it's just the deficit's still too much. Like it goes counter for what Trump campaigned on. The math doesn't math. Senator Mike Lee from Utah is also opposed. Josh Hawley from Missouri.
Josh Hawley's opposed?
Yeah. Or no. So he's critical. He is not opposed. His stance is critical of it. It's on Newsweek right now. So he's not saying he won't vote for it, but he actually is concerned about the Medicaid cuts. You know,
wait, I'm sorry. What? Okay, no, you're right. Hold on. Hold the phone. Where is it? There we go. Yeah, GOP Senator Josh Hawley warns against massive Medicaid cuts. I don't like the idea. What? Yeah. He says, quote, I would not do severe cuts to Medicaid.
Yeah.
What is happening?
I'm really hoping that this is going to wake a lot of these Republicans up. Okay. Especially with Elon Musk now turning on Trump, and Elon has a big fan base among MAGA too.
Can I pause you one more time? Reading from Yahoo here, Josh Hawley said he agreed with MAGA whisperer Steve Bannon, who warned over the weekend that the right, quote, can't just take a meat axe to the program because it also benefits low-income Trump supporters. I've seen Steve Bannon speak. He speaks very he's a dehumanizing person. Okay, he called Nikki Haley as ambitious as Lucifer. He's not a good person. He served jail time. He's behind the modern Christian nationalist movement that's happening globally. He's not a good person. Okay, the fact that he said that and that we agree with him, it almost scares me. Like, on principle, do I have to disagree? Like, no, cut Medicaid now. Completely cut the thing. I don't know. No, obviously that isn't true. But it is interesting to see the shift here. And by the way, on a side note, April, we have to cover this in a future episode. Josh Hawley has said some stuff around being pro-union as well lately, and also being against big corporate business. So I'm not sure what's happening in like some parts of the Christian nationalist movement, but I've heard some language that I go, no, actually, I agree with you, Josh, but I think our motivations are different. But it is something just to at least take note of, that there is some shifting language here. Wow, that's amazing.
Well, and I think it might just show a bigger shift in general. Like, you've already seen, I've seen so many videos online of Trump supporters regretting their vote. You know, there was also, where was it? It was a very heavily Trump voting county, that one of their like favorite people was deported by ICE, and a lot of Trump supporters like, I voted for Trump, but I didn't vote for this. I mean, yes, you did. Trump's
I don't get that.
What he was gonna do. But the point being is there is a lot of Trump regret that is slowly starting to happen. I think these ICE raids are inhumane. I think some people are finally starting to see that. I mean, the videos are heartbreaking.
They're horrible. They will go down in the history books. They're horrible.
My greatest fear is to be accused of something, like to be detained for something I really didn't do, like for like doing nothing, you know? And I guess they would argue that being here illegally is wrong. But here's the thing. They are arresting people who have done all of the right things, who have filed the paperwork, who are doing everything by the law, who are still being arrested and deported. And like one of them, I saw this video. It was a mom. It was her and her husband showed up to file for a regular immigration status hearing that was scheduled. They had done everything right, and they arrested her. And she is a mom of 4. And it is the blood that is on this administration's hands. This is going to be a very, very dark spot in American history.
There's a video of the NYPD ripping a mother away from her 12-year-old child. They had the wrong person, but they just and the girl is sitting there in New York City by herself as her mom
left her alone.
Yeah. And I'm like, and also, I mean, we have not talked enough about who are these people and how do you sleep at night? If you're an ICE agent in particular who wears the mask and won't show your face, how do you go to bed thinking you've done your job ripping families apart? Like, I just want to know how you go to bed with a clear conscience. How do you do that? It is so blatantly inhumane that we are ripping families apart who have done nothing wrong, right? They're trying to go through the process. Oh, actually, while we're here, let me give you an update on something. Many of you know about the story of Muhammad and his family over here in New Jersey. We did a whole interview with them on TNE's channel. If you don't know, friends, the long story short is that him and his family have been in the U.S. for a long time. Their immigration status is pending. It's pending. So they're waiting to get approval. They've been waiting for 9 years for this thing to not be impending anymore. A couple months ago, ICE agents raided their small business in New Jersey, arrested the mother and father, put the mother in a detention center for 2.5 weeks. It was a whole thing. We shared it on Instagram. It went viral. So there's an update. They had their immigration hearing, okay? And they show up with a textbook, a binder full of proof that they have made a life here, that they are citizens here, that they have a small business. My friend Muhammad is married to a U.S. citizen. They have children together. They give them all of this. The judge looks at it, asks if they signed a form. Their lawyer says yes, and the judge goes, the next time I can see this case and make a ruling on it is April of 2029. The judge pushed their case back 5 years. Or 4 years. 4 years. So now they have to stay in the U.S. with a pending immigration status for 4 years, not because of them, but because a judge just said, I can't see her until 4 years from now, which means that ICE could raid the business again. Go get him. Exactly. By the way, Muhammad does not have a social security number. He can't get health care. Like the family is totally gridlocked, just trying to survive in the U.S. And again, if you want the whole story, go over to the New Evangelicals, listen to the whole interview. It's really powerful. But I'm just saying, like, these people that ICE is tearing apart, these are not the criminals that Trump tried to sell his voters they were going after. They're going after mothers and fathers. Children are weeping on camera for their parents. And ICE agents put them into a white van, never to be seen again. I'm a parent. If that happened to me, I would turn violent. I would turn violent if someone tried to take me away from my children.
Oh.
Exactly.
No, I know. Like,
Where's our humanity?
It literally keeps me up at night because it is so terrifying, and I don't know how people are okay with this. I don't, if there is someone out there who works for ICE and you just happen to be listening to this, I don't know. Do the right thing. You don't have to do it. You know, if ICE agents out there just grew a heart, just stop. You know, like
grow some empathy. This is where this mantra of empathy is a sin leads, right? Toxic empathy. This is what they mean. Oh, you're too empathetic because they're crying. How ignore them. Do the right thing. No, the right thing is maintaining the family unit, isn't it? And again, this just shows the backwards logic of Christian nationalism. These pro-family people, right? We care about the nuclear family, maintaining families. We care about kids. No, they don't. They care about some families. They care about some kids. They don't care if the family is brown-skinned or isn't in the country fully legal yet and is going through the process. They don't care about breaking up those families. They don't care about funding the money, the bombs that get dropped on the heads of children in Gaza and destroy those families. They care about maintaining the white family unit. That's what they care about. Yeah. And we have to call this out because this is the result. The result is that we have these videos now of children being ripped apart, completely ripped apart because, and this is my last point, because white Christians overwhelmingly voted for this administration. And they cannot, I will take people who say, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I shouldn't have voted for Trump. Okay, I want to be charitable. I want people to change. I don't want to shame them because I want them to feel welcome into a better way of believing. And also, how did you not believe him when he called immigrants the poison to the blood of our society? Like, what Trump were you listening to? The only campaign promise Trump has kept so far is his mass deportation initiative. So it's hard for me to believe like you really didn't know because obviously he said this over and over and over again. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. That was a meme. Oh gosh, sorry, I'm ranting today, but it's just like it gets me fired up.
I know that is the hard part too because I'm so angry at the people who voted for Trump again because we were screaming about this exact thing happening, and they didn't listen. And also, indoctrination is a hell of a drug, and we have to remember these people watch Fox News. They are hearing a different story. They are living in a different reality. They are told story after story after story of violent, illegal, unquote, quote unquote, immigrants who are here. I don't think Fox News is sharing the stories of all of the, good citizen or people that have committed no crime, of the families of the children being ripped apart. I don't think they're seeing those stories, like the people who are still deeply in that, at least. And if they are and aren't changing, shame on them for sure. But we want to be a soft landing for people as they change because like we need them. We need them. We need Republican senators right now to be on our side, to turn on Trump, which is so. Another thing about the bill that I wanted to point out real quick before we move on. There's also $4 billion in Trump's budget bill to hire 3,000 new Border Patrol agents, as well as 5,000 new customs officers.
Wow.
And including over $2 billion for signing and retention bonuses for ICE agents.
So he's only ramping up.
Right. But also that makes me wonder if maybe there are ICE agents that are leaving. Like maybe it is harder maybe they're having a hard time retaining people because they're asking them to do inhumane things.
I hold space for your optimism. I just think that it's very clear that they want as many brown people out of this country as soon as possible. And they're going to mass hire as much as they can to make that possible, right? I mean, again, these are the same people that made a big talking point about all these new IRS agents. Oh, look how big the federal government's getting under Biden. But when Trump wants to hire thousands of new ICE agents, oh, that's a good thing. So it's not about the size of government. It's about who has the power of the government. That's what this is always about, power and control.
Right. But there's, I'm going to hold on to hope where I can that there are a list of Republicans. Let me first list the rest of them who are critical, undecided, or opposing the bill. Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Joni Ernst of Iowa. Is she the one who was recently at the town hall? And was that Joni who said,
no, we're all going to die? Was
that her? Yeah. Is that the same? Is that who I'm thinking of?
I think it is. It is.
Interesting, because this article that came out yesterday in Newsweek says she's undecided.
Okay, hold on. Can I pull this up? Do we have
Medicaid
time?
spending. I mean, we don't have time, but you know what? Screw it. This is just gonna be a long episode.
I gotta find it, but yeah, she was the one who they were talking about Medicaid cuts, right? And her response was, "Well, we're all gonna die
and they were
anyway."
like, "People will die because of this bill." And just a friendly reminder, I don't know, I can't remember if we said this yet, but by 2034, 11 million people will be uninsured because of this bill.
Oh my God. Okay, this is the clip of Joni. Listen to this, friends. It's about 1 minute and 10 seconds long. Hopefully you guys can hear this okay. Let's see. Check this out.
And he's been very clear about it. He's been good about it. In 4 months, he's made it.
When we're talking about the corrections in this reconciliation bill, again, it's corrections of overpayments and people that have not been eligible for these programs by law as it is currently written. So when you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits, 1.4 million, 1.4, they are not eligible. So they will be coming off. So people are not, well, we all are going to die.
Oh my God. Wow. So people started saying they're going to die if they don't have access to health care. And her response was, well, we're all going to die.
Yeah. So apparently she's undecided. Maybe that town hall had an effect on her. Did you see though her apology? I sent you the link in our guest chat or in the chat if you want to pull it up.
Yeah, I can pull it up.
She gave an apology that was infuriating.
Oh, it was worse than that? Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
I don't know.
All right. Oh, okay, hold on. I got it.
This is in her Instagram story, I think.
Oh, my thing's not working. Hang on, friends.
Oh, come on.
I know.
We are waiting, pausing on the show. We are live. Okay.
We got it. Here we go. Here's her apology video for saying, for apologizing for those comments.
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize for a statement that I made yesterday at my town hall. I was in the process of answering a question that had been asked by an audience member when a woman who was extremely distraught screamed out from the back corner of the auditorium, "People are going to die." And I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well. But for those that would like to see eternal and everlasting life, I encourage you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Of course she's a Christian. Of course.
Isn't that the most condescending, disgusting?
I want to throw up. That is horrible.
She was just mocking people. Like, I thought we all knew that we were going to die.
This lady calls Jesus her Lord and Savior. Then read the words of Jesus. Then read the words and do them. What you did for the least of these, you did unto me. Did you not take care of those who were sick, those who were in prison? Like, how? How can this lady be like, I'm a follower of Jesus, and also, hey, we got to cut Medicare access because, hey, we're all going to die one day. Like, the cruelty, the dehumanization. Read the red letters. Oh,
apparently
my God.
she was in a cemetery.
No.
Pull it up. Is
Stop.
that a cemetery in the background? That's
Let me look.
Let me look.
It's hard to see, honestly. It's hard to see. Let me scroll through. I don't see.
I don't.
Oh, yes. No, it is. I see tombstones. Yes, it is. Yes, it's hard to see maybe on your screen, but I can barely make them out. Yes, she is in a cemetery.
What? Like, imagine. That's so infuriating. Gosh. But but that is in line though with evangelical theology. It's the same reason why they don't care about climate change.
100%.
We don't need to take care of the earth. Jesus is going to come back anyway, and we're all going to die.
It's a depraved theology. I try not to sound these days super hyperbolic, and I'm not saying that every single problem in America is because of white Christian supremacy and that bad theology, but my God, a lot of the problems that we're facing are because there are people in power who believe this stuff. They believe that God's going to come back one day magically, and they have an obligation to usher in that return, right? They believe that, well, God's in control of the climate, so if it's warming, must be His will. Like, this is what they believe, and it has dire consequences.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. We gotta
just
move on.
imagine Jesus being like, take care of the poor, but actually don't take care of the poor because we're all going to die.
We're all going to die.
Anyway.
We're all going to die.
Jesus being like, hey, will you heal me? Jesus like,
why? You're going to die anyway. Yeah. Why would I heal you? Look, you're going to die no matter what. Like, why would I heal you?
All right, let me get through this list. So, surprisingly, though, this list by Newsweek has Senator Joni Ernst as critical of the bill because of Medicaid spending. Despite that stupid display.
It doesn't add up.
Senator John Curtis of Utah is undecided, and then Senator Tom Tillis is also undecided. So, of North Carolina. So, if anyone lives in those states and that is your representative, it's not too late to call them and urge them to vote no because they're already leaning that way. Anyway.
Yes, please do your job. Okay, well, do you want to move on to AI? I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene kind of hinted at this earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, April.
Just play this news video because let me tell you, I think I'm more scared of AI now than climate change as far as just like existential dread when I think about it. You know, not to be a Debbie Downer today, but okay, let's just watch this. These are based on studies that they've done for AI recently. And as we know, AI is blowing up. There's been an uptick of AI videos
for sure
online. And a lot of them are very believable. Like I got tricked by one that was like a woman trying to take a kangaroo on a plane. And like they wouldn't let her allow because she said the kangaroo was her emotional support animal, and I looked so real, and I was like, I fell for it for a second. I'm not gonna lie.
I believe it. No, I believe it. This is from CBS News. It's a little segment here. Before we play that, though, friends, welcome into the stream. If you're just joining, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We go live every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern, and we do a deep dive every Monday, unpacking Christian nationalism and helping you find a better path forward in faith, politics, and culture. Okay, let's watch this clip, and then we'll talk about it. Here we go.
AI is learning to escape human control. That's the very scary headline I saw in the Wall Street Journal. It's an essay written by a very worried AI consultant named Judd Rosenblatt, who cites 2 recent studies to argue that AI is, in fact, learning to escape human control. First, this is crazy stuff. Researchers gave OpenAI's O3 model a simple script that would shut off the model when triggered. In 79 of 100 trials, the AI model independently, just on its own, edited the script, so shutdown command would not work. Nate, it gets worse.
Wow.
Even when ordered, allow yourself to shut down, the AI still disobeyed 7% of the time. And it gets even more frightening than that. Other researchers, listen to this, using Anthropic's AI model Claude 4 Opus, told the model it would be replaced by another AI system. It then fed fictitious emails into the system suggesting one of the engineers was having an affair. Got it? In 84% of the tests, the AI model drew on the emails to blackmail the engineer to not shut down the AI model.
What?
That is crazy.
Okay, so here, I'm quoting now from Judd. In other cases, the AI model attempted to copy itself onto external servers. We're in Mission Impossible land here. Wrote self-replicating malware and left messages for future versions of itself about the need to evade human control.
The entity.
The entity is real.
Yes. And that's why so many people, and when I say people, me, are worried about AI.
I'm worried.
That is scary stuff.
Yeah.
Told you.
That is, it wrote its own malware. That's wild.
Messages to future versions of itself.
Telling it to avoid
human control.
Oh my gosh.
That's terrifying.
Look, do you think this is the end? Are we getting close to the end of the world? Like, are we going to end up like in the Matrix
No,
where
God is
we're
in
all just
control.
plugged in? We're all just plugged in somewhere. I mean, for all we know,
Honestly,
April, we could be in the Matrix right now. We don't know.
I mean, that is a theory out there that
For sure.
that we're already in a simulation, which honestly might makes more sense than reality.
Things are crazy enough sometimes. So you're really worried about AI then?
Are you not?
I am. I'm worried about it. I mean, okay, here's how I think about this, right? I always think about how whenever something new comes on the scene, people always freak out. I mean, people called credit cards the mark of the beast when they first dropped, right? And so
But the credit cards don't think for themselves, Tim.
No, I'm with you. I'm
Sentient beings.
I am not finished with my thought yet. Okay,
sorry.
so no, that's okay. So on one side, I don't want to become like, those people where you're freaking out and it turns out we're okay. But also the fact that these AI scripts are like almost self-realizing and like trying to avoid human.
They are.
Yeah, that part is like, well, at what point does it become Skynet from the Terminator? Like how close are we to a Terminator type world or like iRobot or something? Like, I mean, we're just inching closer and closer. Maybe not in our lifetime, but certainly in my kid's lifetime or shortly after.
We've learned nothing.
And then I think about
movies.
too, there's so much disinformation already out there. I mean, the Trump regime pushes so much propaganda, and AI is getting so good at creating whatever you want it to create. Like I have seen those AI videos that have fooled me too. Like they did one that was like a man on the street, and it was like a bunch of clips, and at the end it's like, oh, this is all AI, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then once I knew it, I could recognize it, but until I knew it, I couldn't see it. So I do wonder, like, how do we determine fact from fiction in a world where these models can create photos, videos, music, scripts on command in a matter of seconds that are so plausible?
Well, and the deep fakes, like you can make anybody look like they're saying or doing anything.
Oh, yes,
Which is just, that alone is scary. But outside of that, if AI starts thinking on its own and it has access to all these, to computers, it has access to everything. I mean, everything right now is so computerized. And if AI...
Everything. They
could have access to the nuclear codes. Like, there is a very... If they go and do their thing, they could take us over.
I mean, our electric grid, right, is online. Like, you're right. A lot of things are. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't want to be a sky is falling person, but it certainly seems like, what do we do with some of this stuff? What do we do with it?
I will say my one hope, I guess, if hope is the word, is that AI hopefully is not purely evil, which I don't think they are. I feel like artificial intelligence is pretty pragmatic. They go based on data and they go based on facts. So hopefully they're anti-fascist AI, And maybe they'll take it out on the billionaires and realize that they're the problem and not everybody else. Maybe we can all coexist.
But have you heard of AI hallucinations?
What? No.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't want to freak you out even further, but I don't want to be that guy, but AI is not built on data. AI, the way it works is it's trying to guess the next most logical word in a sentence. And so they have these things called AI hallucinations where AI models like ChatGPT or Gemini, whatever, they'll produce incorrect, misleading, or nonsensical information in response to a user's prompt, but they'll pass it off as like correct. For example, if you tell...
Yeah.
But let me give you an example. What was the one? Hold on, ChatGPT analog clock. So there's this issue where if you tell ChatGPT to make an analog clock tell the time of like 6:30, it will always make it 10:10, but it will tell you it's showing you the time of 6:30 because of the way it's coded. It's just it's a coding thing. Let me see if I can get it to if I can get it to work. Hold on. Make me a picture of an analog clock showing 2:30. Let's see if it will work. Maybe they fixed it, but I definitely have seen this online before, and it's crazy. So I say this because, like, AI like can pass off things super confidently that's not true.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've asked ChatGPT who wrote Star Spangled Jesus, which is my book. And like 9 times out of 10, it says some random man.
No way. Does
And
it
not
really?
me. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So I
That's
like, I know
hilarious.
it's like not all correct, but it is scary because it's just going to continue. I mean, it is getting better at a very, very fast rate. Like it's going to keep getting smarter and smarter and smarter. I mean, it's already self-realizing, and I don't know.
So yeah, look. It's making the picture, but look how it made it. 10. See, I said make me a picture of an analog clock showing 2:30, and it made it 10:10.
Interesting.
Interesting, right?
Well, say please and thank you to your Googles and Alexas and your Siris, and I'm going to continue to treat them with respect.
Yeah, yes.
In case
Dear
I'm a
AI
kind
overlords,
human.
don't forget. Yes,
I'm
we
not-
were polite.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, okay. Well, yeah,
Maybe
we
it
wanted to
could
at least
solve
cover that.
climate change, though.
Well,
They
I mean,
probably do better than humans.
look, this is the thing, though, right? Is like anything, it's a tool. AI has done a lot of good stuff too. It's really helpful. I mean, it helps me when I need help with like thinking through something. Like, hey, what might be a good title for something or a good option? It's really helpful in that way. But like anything, there is a dark
Yeah.
side to it, you know. So,
Speaking of dark sides,
okay. You are the queen of transitions. I don't know how you do it, but you do. You do.
so there's been some scandals in the CCM world, Christian
we're going there.
contemporary
Okay, yeah.
music. Where'd you think I was going?
Well, I didn't know if we were going Sean Feucht or Michael Tait. Sounds like we're going Michael Tait first.
Well, both. They're both scandals. Sean
Yeah.
Feucht's also CCM.
That's true. Where do you want to start? Sean Feucht or Michael
Let's
Tait?
start with Sean Feucht. It's not quite as dark.
Really? No, you're right. It's not. It's not.
I mean,
dark.
yeah, no, it's not. Sean Feucht, our favorite blonde, curly-haired, comb-overed Christian nationalist,
Yeah.
has been exposed or accused of some financial, spiritual, and moral misconduct.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So I have some caveats to give you. First off, people have been saying this for a long time. The Rolling Stone has covered this before with like real fishy operations of how Sean handles his money and buying multiple houses. And I will tell you that, you know, look, April, you and I, we've been in this space for a bit now. I have a lot of friends in this space. And I will tell you off the record, I have a lot of friends who will stay anonymous who either currently might know Sean or have worked with Sean in the past and have given me a very similar story without knowing each other. So I've always had suspicions that Sean maybe is kind of a grifter and also doesn't know how to, or maybe isn't, to put it charitably, is allegedly, financially not good with his money and using it for nefarious purposes. But the reason why he's back in the news with this headline is because his own previous team and former staff members and people who have worked with him over the course of several years made a website detailing in great detail all of the different, things that they're accusing him of, including financial, spiritual, and moral misconduct. So there are three things that the allegations are accusing him of, and this is from, by the way, the website is called Truth and Freedom Stories. Okay, it's right here, and they have a long formal statement. I'm going to just read you the summary. You can go visit it if you want. So there are three allegations that they're bringing here. There's financial misconduct. This report alleges that Sean Feucht diverted donations for personal use, misused ministry credit cards, and failed to maintain proper financial records. For instance, despite a significant revenue increase in 2020, financial transparency reportedly declined after the ministry's reclassification as a church in 2022, exempting it from filing detailed financial disclosures. Number 2, spiritual and emotional abuse. Testimonies describe a pattern of manipulation, including the use of spiritual language to control behavior, retaliation against those who raise concerns, and creating a culture demanding extreme loyalty. Former staff members report experiences of public shaming and emotional distress. And number 3, organizational mismanagement. The investigation highlights a complex network of overlapping organizations with unclear financial boundaries. Concerns are raised about the use of ministry funds for acquiring multiple real estate properties, some labeled as parsonages across various states. So it's a pretty detailed report here, and it's getting passed around the internet. And Sean,
is doing the Sean thing. I mean, and I think because it is signed by several people who worked or volunteered for Sean and his ministry. Sean Feucht, as far as I can see, has not directly addressed the allegations, but he has posted some kind of, cryptic things.
What did he say?
He posted this.
Random.
Birds of a feather working together. When Soros backed Christianity Today, Rolling Stone, and the LGBTQ mafia gang up to attack Christians, you know a big breakthrough is coming. Never back down! With the prayer emoji.
Yeah.
So I was reading the comments because I wanted to see if anyone was saying anything about it. And there was one lady who sounds like she was a supporter. Do you have that screenshot? She comments on that post, and this is on his Facebook page. She said, "You need to open the books and be transparent. I sponsor a child with your Light a Candle program, and I am thinking of canceling because I can't be sure where my money is going. This doesn't look good." Sean Feucht replied to her comment and said, "You are welcome to come to India with us at any time and see the incredible work there. My family sponsors children as well and visited them in person last year." So basically his response to her being like, "Hey, Sean, could you be transparent about your finances?" And he's like, "Why don't you pay more money to come on a trip with me?"
It's, yeah. Again, this is not a surprise. I mean, everyone who's seeing it is like, wow, we're all so shocked that this is a story. I mean, we all knew about this, or we had a lot of suspicions about it. I mean, Sean owns several houses that are worth millions of dollars. They're all in his name. He has rental properties, apparently. This is all according to the report. And it's not transparent with where the money goes. I mean, I think Rolling Stone did an article on this a year or two ago and mentioned that Sean Feucht Ministries brought in like $5 million in 2021, yet I think, and his wife are the only people on staff at the organization. So where's all of the money going, right? And in classic evangelical fashion, we're going to probably see a lot of defensiveness from Sean and probably blame demonic oppression, trying to stop
Christian persecution.
Or Christian persecution, or Soros funded, Christianity Today. Like, wow, that's Sean, like, geez Louise. So we are following this story. We'll see how it kind of shakes out, but look, I mean, right-wing spaces are notorious for grifters. This is like not new. And Sean made a lot of money in 2020 and 2021 with this "Let Us Worship," mantra as he toured the U.S., asking for donations all the time, selling merch all the time in the name of limited government and no masks necessary. And I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised that he is allegedly being improper with his finances. Yeah.
Have you been accused of receiving money from George Soros?
Not yet. I can't wait for the day though, so I can be
I have.
Well, the thing is, if I would tell people. Like, I don't give a crap. Like, I would tell people, yes, I have George Soros money. Cope. Like, I would love to have some of that billionaire money. It'd be great, but I don't have any of it.
George Soros is a busy guy.
Yeah. I mean,
he's like the boogeyman.
I would love. April, I'll go more modest. I don't want a second house. I just want to be able to have a separate small studio that's not my guest bedroom. Is that too much to ask for? Yeah, that's all I want.
Yeah.
Just one house and one little studio. That's all I want.
It is too much, remember? Because Jesus said to screw the poor.
That's right. I forgot.
You're asking for too much. Stay in your guest bedroom. Oh, no, just kidding. So in other news, and this just dropped last night, and we don't have time to get into all the details because it is a very thorough report. The Roy's report, journalist Julie Roy's, it posted on that last night. It is a very, very long article. And I believe that the Roy's report was for over 2 years, was investigating this particular story. So basically, Michael Tait, who was the front man for the Newsboys for several years, initially got his fame by being, one of three of DC Talk, which you and I grew up on DC Talk. Like, I loved
they were my favorite
Talk.
Trio. My favorite band was DC
Talk.
100%.
Yeah, same. And so Michael Tait, if you are a 90s CCM baby, is a household name for you.
Yes.
And he has just been accused of, and this dates back, I think, since 2004, was what the article said, of sexual assault, grooming, and substance abuse.
Yep.
And it's a very detailed. They interviewed.
It's long.
Multiple sources.
50
They verified
sources. 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to read all the details, it is there. It is grueling. It is disheartening.
So the summary for people, and again, just trigger warning, this deals with sexual abuse, is it's this. So here's kind of the 5-minute summary, and this is breaking news, so we'll see how this gets unpacked in the future weeks. We'll make sure to keep you guys apprised. Michael Tait, renowned for his roles in Christian music bands DC Talk and Newsboys, faces serious allegations of sexual misconduct, grooming, and substance abuse spanning over 2 decades. An extensive investigation by the Reuters Report involving over 50 sources has brought these accusations to light. Key allegations: 1. Sexual misconduct. 3 men allege that Tait befriended them during Christian music tours in 2004, 2010, and 2014. They claim that after consuming alcohol, they experienced non-consensual sexual contact initiated by Tait. 2. Substance abuse. 1 accuser reported that Tait offered him cocaine aboard the Newsboys tour bus. 3. Grooming behavior. The pattern described involves Tait establishing close relationships with young men, providing them with alcohol, and then engaging in inappropriate behavior. These incidents reportedly occurred when the victims were around 22 years old, and the Reuters Report has corroborated these accounts with multiple sources. I will tell you, now that this is coming out to light, that I have heard for maybe a year and a half now rumors about Michael Tait not only potentially being gay, which is fine, like people are gay, more power to them, but also being predatory in nature. And again, this was all hearsay, so I couldn't talk about it. I wasn't going to share it. We needed someone with investigative journalism background to do the work, and it's been a 2.5-year investigation for the Reuters Report to drop this. But everyone I've talked to, even when I share this on Instagram, people were messaging me, hey, I'm a CCM, person, or I used to be, and this was like an open secret about Michael Tait and just how he was. So it seems like for a lot of people, this is no surprise. But yeah, it's definitely, it's a damning report. And it also makes sense why he resigned abruptly, I think a few months ago, from Newsboys. I mean, he just overnight was like, I'm out of here. And so I think, my guess, I don't know, this is all alleged, but I'm guessing that the Reuters Report either contacted him or contacted the band asking for comment, and he was like, yeah, I'm out of here. So, yeah.
I just want to say, I could see this. I think there are going to be a lot of conservative Christians that are rightfully so going to be outraged about this. I mean, we all should be outraged. Absolutely. Because that behavior is reprehensible. I can see them blaming him being gay for this predatory behavior, which is not why this is bad. Like, him being gay has absolutely nothing to do with why this is bad.
100%.
But this type of behavior, though, like, I think one reason why you see so much abuse and hidden scandals within evangelical culture is because you are taught to repress your sexuality, not just if you're gay, but even if you're straight. Like, sex is taboo. It's for procreation. Yeah. Only. Like, it shames women. It gives men this authority over women too, to where you have this hierarchy culture where you always submit to your spiritual leadership.
Right.
And it forces people into closets. It forces people into closets where they have to, the only way that they can be out or to even free that side is only in secrecy. And in secrecy is when abuses happen and when all this stuff, it's the secrecy. It's the environment that causes this. It's not the queerness of it. Queerness has nothing to do with this predatory behavior. And I'm going to be so pissed when I see people try to blame it on that, because Robert Morris is also in news because he's currently on trial for molesting a 12-year-old.
Yep.
When he was in ministry.
Yep.
And he's straight. It is the environment. It is the theology. It's the repression that people carry with them all the time, because that's what you're taught to do, because you're taught you're dirty and you're sinful and you have to hide it. You have to be ashamed of it. And it's that shame that makes you that brings out predatory behavior. And that is not a defense of Michael Tait. Like what he did is awful and terrible, and also the system is rotten.
Yeah, I mean, we can seek to understand how this happens without excusing the behavior, right? There's no excuse for non-consensual sexual activity, period. I don't care how you grew up, where you come from, it's inexcusable. However, the question is, how does this happen? Why does this happen? And repression and this system of secrecy and you can't be who you really are certainly can play a factor into how people do terrible things, right? Michael Tait needs to be brought to justice. I hope that a full investigation happens. I hope that a police investigation happens, that we get all that, not we, but that for the victim's sake, justice is found for sure. And also, maybe we should think a little bit differently about how we treat sex and queerness in the church, because clearly it doesn't work. I mean, the SBC covered up sexual abuse for decades, right? There was a huge scandal about that. April, you and I could have an entire show where every day we just read headlines of pastors and youth pastors who have sexually assaulted a child or have sexually assaulted someone else, right? It is a nonstop flood of straight men doing this, right? So the issue is not someone's sexual orientation. There are other factors that go into play. Again, that's not to excuse it. That's not to justify it. It's not to downplay it. It's simply to say maybe there's a way, maybe there are factors that go into what creates someone's psyche to think that these kinds of non-consensual acts are okay or acceptable when they're really not, right?
Right. And to be in a place where you think you could do these things to people and get away with it. Totally. Because so many people in this world do get away with it because
100%.
because of the spiritual authority and the secrecy and all of the theology that goes behind all of that too.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a long show, but we'll do our final weird Christian. Beep. You got our stinger? Weird Christian shit. Woo! Okay, so this is going back to the AI. This is a video of Trump giving a testimony.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It's not working.
What do you mean it's not working?
Keep stalling, April. I'll fix this.
Okay, this is a video of Donald Trump. I saw this on Facebook. And it's him. It's a 9-minute video. We're not going to watch the whole thing. But it's a two-part. The first half is him, or really the first, 2/3, is Donald Trump. His lips are moving. It's bad AI. There's AI out there that is very scary and very believable.
Yeah, this is not that.
This is not that. This is very clearly AI. The lips don't match it. It's the face looks distorted. And then it cuts to Donald Trump singing this country sounding worship song, which is also very clearly AI. But we want to play some of the video, and then we want to read you the comments. It's got 300 some thousand views, I think.
It's crazy.
And over 1,000 comments, and I was reading through them, and most of them are falling for it. There's been a slew of these AI worship songs out there on YouTube that people think are real. There's a video of Barron Trump singing a worship song, and it's all these old ladies being like, "Oh my gosh, Barron loves the Lord, so sweet." It's wild. So, did you get the video?
Yeah, can you see it?
You should show some of his testimony and then go to the song.
I will. This is just the thumbnail that's in the beginning.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Friends, before we play the video, please give this video a like. That would be so helpful. We have almost 300 people watching, and 136 people have liked the video. So let's get that up to 200. Help us out. It helps get the video out to more people. It means the world. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do that as well. We go live every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern and do a deep dive every single Monday. And this show's also on podcast as well. Okay, I'll hit play. We'll let it go for a little bit. April, you tell me when to pause, then we'll go towards the end.
Okay,
Here's
I just
a
want to
Trump
give people
AI.
a feel.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Before I sing this song that means so much to me, I need you all to first take a little time and listen to me. Maybe this will inspire you in some way. Many people have asked who Jesus is to me. Well, to put it simply, he is everything. He is my Savior,
white.
my friend, my hope,
The
and the
whitest
very
Jesus
reason
ever.
I am able to face each day with strength Life is full of trials, pain, and moments where the weight of the world feels unbearable. But Jesus has always been the one who carries me through. He is not just a distant historical figure or a religious symbol. He is personal, real, and ever-present.
That is the whitest European Jesus I've ever seen. Look at that man.
So he talks like this. It's word
8
vomity.
minutes. Look at this.
It's so long. So then at a certain point, it cuts to the song that he's singing, right?
No, I gotta play this. Oh, we're gonna play this. Okay, here we go. Buckle up, friends.
You're my comfort, my friend. You hold me close. Your love never ends.
I can't do it. Oh my God. No.
Through joy and through pain. Jesus, my everything, forever the same. Oh, you're my strength when I am weak. The voice of peace when I can't speak. You are the fire inside my soul. Jesus, take my life, take control. Jesus, my Savior.
Okay, I can't do it.
So
I'm done.
clearly
I'm
AI.
done.
So for those
Wait,
that are
hold on.
listening-
Can we back up for a second? Can we just look at some of these stills? What in the hee-haw hell is going on? Look at this. Look at that angel in the back. What is happening?
Is Satan screaming? And whose baby is that?
Whose baby is that? And then what is this like Dragon Force Super Saiyan?
That looks like some
Street
kind of
Fighter.
portal you'd see in the Avengers, like
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Why is this baby floating? Why is this baby floating? What is happening? What is happening?
Okay.
Okay.
That is weird Christian beep. But I think the weirder part of this video are the comments. So I screenshotted, and to be fair, I only looked through maybe a couple hundred comments. There's over 1,000 of them, and the most, like 95% of the comments were positive, and people being like, "Oh, thank you, Trump."
April, can I just say? You said that this is weird Christian beep. No, this is weird Christian shit. Like, I think this shit needs to be dropped here. It is weird Christian shit. It just is. Okay. Here, I have them pulled up here. Here are some of the screenshots from this video.
Okay, these are comments, right? He is God's other David. And this comment says, "I don't know country singers, but I don't think he's singing here. But he may be singing it too."
No, come on.
So Renee wasn't convinced that it was or was not. She has doubt. It could have been. It might have been Trump singing. All right, go. Wanda says, "Thank you, Jesus, for President Trump, our commander-in-chief, our Christian leader, and our true friend. Jesus is my everything too, President Trump."
Do you think
Wanda
this is real, though? Is
Yes,
this
keep
a
going.
bot? All right, fine.
There's over 1,000 of them. Wait, go back to the all caps ones. Beautifully said. And I know you haters are going to say he isn't saying that. To all of you, if you don't like the message, then get off our Patriots page. I love it, and I know God has his hand on this great man. He had to look far and wide to find him. He is our David, standing and facing the Goliath, and we will never back down. Next. And he can sing.
No, that cannot. No,
This one said,
that's got to be
good-
AI. AI has,
good-
remember, oh my God. Sorry, go ahead.
Good if that's him singing. So a little bit of doubt there. It may not be him singing, but if it is, good. Good. Awesome. Love this man. God in his mercy keep you and your staff. My Savor.
Yeah, my
He
Savor.
is my whole life. Amen. He been touched by the Lord. God bless him. Love this. Not many presidents will speak out like this.
April,
Bless
I
him.
have a hypothetical scenario. What if AI? What if the AI create? What if the thing or the AI machine that made that video also created these comments to troll us? Like, what if it's so self-aware? It's like, let me troll the anti-Christian nationalists and create all of these different people and accounts and re-comment underneath my own video that I made to troll them, because these are too on the nose. They're too on the nose. These cannot be real people.
Maybe, I mean, I did click on a couple of them, and they did look like real profiles, but I'm sure some of these are bots. I mean, we also have a very we have a big problem with bots as well.
We do.
Here's another comment. Pretty sure that this is not Trump singing. I think it was Trump speaking, but the singer sounds a lot like Randy Travis. So Charlotte here was like, that's definitely not Trump singing.
Right.
But you got me on the words. Like, Trump definitely said all that.
He definitely said that. Yes. 2 Corinthians.
Here's another one. Amen. You Lord, just you very mukamin.
April, the way you said that. Very mukamin. Oh my goodness.
Honestly, my new favorite pastime is just reading comments as they are written, you know, typos and all.
It's like a spiritual gift that you can do it so well. It's hilarious.
Yeah, here's another one.
I'm ready.
Thank you, His Excellency, Donald Trump. You are so handsome of this message. No wonder you trained Barron, your son, about Jesus. This person probably saw Barron's worship AI song as well. Anyway, it's so many. It's full of comments like this, and you know, maybe a lot of them are AI. Because would make more sense because this was a very clearly, obviously AI video.
I mean, the name of this person is Armstrong, and it looks like, you know how whenever AI makes a photo, sometimes the person has like 6 fingers or something. This is written like it has 6 fingers. You know, it's like one of those, like it seems too broken. Like
you would think AI though wouldn't misspell excellency.
That's true. I mean, I don't know.
Misspelled it twice actually. Excellency. God bless you, His Excellency.
I'm not even sure what to say. That is what a note to end the show on.
Yeah.
We covered a lot today.
This is one of our longer shows we've had in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Well, I wasn't on last week and so much news, and then the Michael Tait thing dropped last night. God, there's so much going on. So
Yeah.
Right.
Well, be nice to our future AI overlords.
Yes. We love you, honestly, AI. Thank you, AI.
I think I'd rather have an AI president than Donald Trump.
At this point, for sure. I think.
I don't know.
Be careful what you wish for, though, right? So maybe
Depends on the AI, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, we've talked about this enough. So happy Pride.
Happy Pride. We'll see you back here. Well, we'll see you on Monday for another episode. And then we'll be back on Thursday with another live. So have a good week.